want to learn a new language, one of the best things that you can do is work on your fluency. And the same thing applies if you want to learn astrology. So in today's video, I will share with you 10 exercises that you can try to better understand the cosmic language of the stars. Hello there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Living Simply channel. My name is Fatty and I'm a holistic astrologer. And in this platform, I speak about all things astrology, esoteric symbols, and self-development. If these are things that interest you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because I have much more topics that I would like to cover with you. Learning astrology, just like learning any other complex system, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time, effort, and investments. And for me, as an example, I have been studying astrology for 9 years now. But in the earlier stages, I have been scattered. I didn't have a methodological approach. I didn't know what to do or where to look for information. And it was only when I started taking, my learning into my own hands that I began really advancing in my astrological studies. Before we jump right into the exercises and tips that I have for you, tell me in the comment section down below, what's your astrology fluency level? Are you a total beginner? Are you more advanced? Are you taking a course? Are you studying astrology for years now? What's your address? Just kidding. Also, make sure to download my free guide, How to Read Your Own Birth Chart. It's completely free, and if you haven't grabbed it yet, please make sure to do so. I'll leave the link in the description box. So the first exercise that you can try is to learn about the meaning of the zodiac and planetary symbols. These are what we call the planetary glyphs, and I have a video on my Occult Symbols podcast where I share their occult, more hidden esoteric meaning. But what I mean by this tip is that you can't speak French and not know the alphabet of French, and the same goes for astrology. When you look at a birth chart, you're not going to read Aries, you're going to see a symbol that represents Aries. The same goes for planets, for asteroids, etc. So you need to become really fluent with these things. They need to become second nature, and once you open a birth chart, it just speaks to you. Everything makes sense. There's no confusion. There's no, oh, is this Jupiter? Is this Saturn? You see everything clearly, and it can help you a lot. The second tip that I have for you today is to write a short story based on your astrological blueprint or birth chart, and to let it guide you and inspire you. You're wondering, what is happening here? Let me explain. First of all, I shamelessly got inspired by one of my services that I offer, the cosmic writing, that I offer to my clients on my website. Check it out if you're interested. But this is something that you can recreate too. If you look at your birth chart, there's a story there, and 10 times out of 10, it's not just one story, it's multiple stories overlaid, and it is so fascinating to look at these things as creative fuel. If you look at your birth chart and treat planets as single stories, you can craft so many inspiring novels and, bestsellers even. But the goal for this exercise is not to make you the next J.K. Rowling. It is just to help you get acquainted with your own birth chart. Once you know what your Venus in Taurus or what your Mars in Pisces feels like, what he would do if he was his own character, or once you start imagining, plays and interactions between your planets, everything gets clearer. If you have a square and you describe it as someone who's, fighting with his spouse, everything makes so much sense because you start to realize that these aspects, planets, signs that seem so foreign to you, at the end of the day, they're human. If you don't use your intuition to help you learn astrology, you're always going to be a beginner, in my opinion, because it's not going to be relatable. You're never going to make astrology practical, and you're never going to get to the core of it. Just like learning anything else, you need to engage all your senses and you need to let intuition guide you as you learn these new things. The third tip that I have for you is to study a celebrity birth chart. And this can be anyone from Johnny Depp to Mahatma Gandhi or even Hitler. There's lots of resources online. I remember, as an example, the first birth chart of a celebrity that I did was Kurt Cobain. Things like this really help you get a better eye in terms of astrology, because let me just tell you one thing, it's a secret but not really. Astrology is not just about knowing Mars in Aries means this because I read it in a book. It's about looking at those manifestations. You would read, as an example, about what Mars squaring Saturn would give you as a result. But if you don't see it in someone's life, if you don't see its manifestation, I guarantee that you're not going to be able to grasp the meaning of this aspect. The same goes for planetary placements and transits. If you don't see how someone was affected by a Saturn return, or someone was affected by a moon squaring his Mars, things of this nature, you're not going to advance as an astrologer. So getting to read as much charts as possible can be very helpful. It can be eye-opening, and celebrities have this known factors. There's so many things that are in the public eye. So it can be very easy to determine, oh, I see, this is the aspect that gave him this charisma. Oh, this is why he's a good singer or a good politician, etc. So do your research and, of course, stay respectful. Don't get too nosy, of course. These celebrities are people, so don't do to them what you wouldn't want someone to do to you. This means if you don't want your future to be read by a stranger, don't do it to your favorite celebrity. But if there's lessons about what they're going through, or if a celebrity has shared certain aspects of their life, feel free to go look for these things in their birth charts. Before we continue, please make sure to hit that subscribe button because that helps me reach more seekers like you and I. The fourth tip that I have for you today is to learn about every single astrological basics out there. Listen, I love zodiacal releasing, progress charts, horary astrology talk. You can learn about all of these topics and more advanced topics later on in your journey. But if you don't know the basics, the foundations of astrology, and I'm speaking modalities, elements, planetary dignities, things of this sort, if you don't have them in your tool belt, you're not going to be able to go that far. You know, I remember back in the days when I was just starting out, I wanted to learn about things that were super advanced, and while reading the documents, I would not be able to follow along because I didn't have the basics. They would be terms that I didn't know about at the time, and that would throw me off completely. So if you want to learn astrology and become astro fluent, please do yourself a favor and become a master of these foundations first. And from there, trust me, the world is your oyster and you can do anything. The fifth tip that I have for you today is to keep track of the transits. Listen, one attribute of a really good astrologer is someone who recognizes the flavors of the transits without even living through these transits. And it sounds weird, but you can do this the more you get acquainted with the possible manifestations of certain planetary aspects. I'm giving you an example. Eclipses or retrogrades. These can be very easy to track down. You can put your agenda in front of you, write down, okay, so on this day we have the beginning of a retrograde, and on that day we have a total lunar eclipse, things of that sort. And you have to be scientific in your approach. You have to observe what happens, in which area of your life things manifest, and how it correlates with your own birth charts. And you can observe how other people around you too react to these same transits. The more you do this, the more flow and ease there's going to be. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was busy reading an astrology book. Which brings me to the next point. Pick up an astrology book. Listen, there's so many inspiring astrologers out there. Liz Greene, Pam Gregory, Demetra George, Stephen Forrest, so many inspiring people, I tell you. And these astrologers, they have years and years of experience, and they usually combine it all in a book. And this is something that you can pick up at your library. You can listen to it in audio version while you're driving your car. You don't have to do it the old-fashioned way, but you can still learn something from picking up a book, trust me. My next tip for you is to listen to as much astrology podcasts as you can while you're cooking, doing the dishes, running errands, and doing those, mundane tasks of life. For me, it has helped me a lot. I remember when I first discovered the astrology podcast, I was blown away. I was like, wow, so many resources that I can listen to as I, go around the park walking. And this can really change the way you think, because you get to hear astrologers speak about subjects that they are passionate about. You get to discover new topics within astrology that can really inspire you or even draw you in. And yeah, it can be really, really helpful. And there's so many podcasts out there. I will leave, as well as the book recommendations, a few podcast recommendations that I have for you. These are free, they are open, accessible, like you have no excuses. You're doing your dishes, go listen to someone speak about the stars and the moon and whatnot. The next point is something that I absolutely love to do, and I actually do it unconsciously. I don't even try to, but it is guessing people's signs. And by the way, I have a very high accuracy rate. I have like a 90% accuracy rate, not to brag or anything. But anyways, what I mean by this is that once you get into the mood and the habit of guessing people's signs, and I'm not speaking of just their sun sign, I'm speaking the rising, the moon, the Venus, the descendant, the midheaven. Once you get to do this, you become much more fluent in astrology because you recognize the flavors and the expressions of these signs. See, Virgo placements are not the same energetically as Taurus placements. Although they're both earth signs, they're very different. And once you recognize in your friends, in your circle, in your family, in even strangers, how these placements manifest and how you can recognize them, everything gets easier. And a bonus tip, also related to guessing people's signs, I also want you to begin assigning elements and modalities to situations. So not just people here, but situations. As an example, you are on a date and you feel the butterflies, you are feeling excited. What element would that be? What modality, what sign would that be? You are fired from your job because you were lazy. What would that be? Give yourself into this game, make it fun, make learning astrology something fun, and start guessing. Because trust me, once you get the hang of it, it's going to become natural, it's going to become easy, and it can help you transform your life. And let me tell you why. Let's suppose someone that you know begins yelling, he's mad, he's crying, and he's yelling at the same time. If you imagine this situation as water and fire combining, so it's like boiling water, you know that you can't add more water to the conversation, or you should not add more more heat to this situation. The best thing that you can do is take the other two elements that are missing from this situation to appease and find calm and find peace. So these two missing elements would be earth, which represents practicality, being grounded, and air, which represents communications and thoughts. So you see your person yelling and, crying and being hysterical. You're there, calm, composed, you're not condescending, you're just, reassuring them, and at the same time talking them through, asking them questions. Trust me, that situation is gonna de-escalate in a matter of seconds. If you're interested, by the way, in the 4 elements, how to use them, how to integrate them, I have a video that I dedicated to the topic. I'll leave it in the description box for you to watch if you haven't yet. The last tip that I have for you today is by far my favorite. I use it every single day, and that is to use social media to join astro communities and find your tribe. Listen, peer learning, there's nothing like it. As someone who's very secluded in the way I do things, I love to work solo. I love to be an entrepreneur. I love to do things on my own. I have spent years studying on my own, but the minute I joined the Reddit forums or the Tumblr vlogs or the Instagram pages and the Facebook groups, the Facebook astrology groups, like literally these places helped me realize that there's so many other people just like me having the same questions, the same doubts, the same quests every single day to get to the information, to get to the truth. And this can be very exciting, very motivating if you are starting your journey, and it's going to expand your horizon. With 20 people asking questions, trust me, there's going to be at least one question that sparks your curiosity. The same goes if you have a question, you can ask a group and benefit from the knowledge and experience of other people like yourself who maybe have gone further or in different paths than you have. This is a very powerful tool, and social media, as much as we love to hate on it, is very helpful in this manner. We can use it to find people who resonate with our values, with our desires. So find your people, find those who can help you, connect with your favorite astrologers, find that Reddit person who can actually help you understand your chart better. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much, guys. I am always so happy to shoot these videos. This one I was so excited about because all of these tips are things that I still do. So literally I am the proof that these tips actually work. So please let me know in the comment section down below if you're going to be trying any of these. And if you have other tips to share with your friends, with all the seekers who are watching the video, please feel free to do so. And on this note, I wish you a very, very blessed week. Bye bye.